Hey friend, it's episode number 585 of the And So podcast with Taylor Bradford. Let's get to it. Boss Girl Creative presents And So with Taylor Bradford, business and life musings from a successful serial entrepreneur. Each week, you will hear Taylor spill the tea on all things business, life, relationships, health, and everything in between. But don't worry, each week also includes a business nugget that will help you stay on course. And now a throwback to 3-year-old Taylor who inspired all of this.
And so,
Hello, welcome to episode 585. I'm your host, Taylor Bradford. Oh my gosh, the heat in Texas is relentless. Yep, I am back in Texas. We actually decided to leave at 6:45 p.m. Colorado time and drive through the night. We arrived back home, I think around like 8:30-ish in the morning. And it was a much better driving experience because we were driving in the dead of the night with very little heat, even though at one point it did like get to 90 degrees at nighttime where we were driving. But much better experience, no trailer tire blowouts getting back home and safe and sound. But I literally had so much anxiety in our last morning before we decided to leave at night. We had been talking about, well, maybe we should leave at midnight. That way a good chunk of our driving is not in the dead of the heat. And then I was like, okay, well, if we're going to do that, I need to go take a nap, and then I need to wake up, and then I need to cook us dinner, and then we need to pack up and go. And I tried laying down and my heart was just thudding. And my whole body was racked with anxiety. And I was like, I can't sleep. I laid there, I think for about an hour, and I just couldn't sleep. Just so much negative energy pumping through my body and so much stress for, I don't know what was propelling it other than just having anxiety about going home and then having a big event that I actually have to leave out for today before I actually have some solace of nothing, and just a lot on the plate at the moment. And so I couldn't sleep, got up, and I was like, I don't know what to do. I feel like I'm prepping to wait and I can't prep to wait. So we're like, okay, let's just start packing up and we will go. And that's what we did. We started packing up, and eventually we left out at 6:45 and drove through the night. And of course, what had been happening in Colorado is lots of afternoon, really large thunderstorms. And so when we were leaving, there was a really large pressure system that put me into a migraine that was making me nauseous. It's just all kinds of things, which could have had something to do with the anxiety. But anyways, back home, recording back in my little closet. We did check on the house when we got back, and our doors were arriving yesterday. And so we ended up popping back over to the house late last night. And oh my gosh, the doors look amazing. The trim looks amazing. My master bathroom is done as far as tile, and a lot of the trim is done. And it just looks so good. It looks so good. I am just tickled pink with how that is all looking. And yeah, so it's just looking really good. We're getting so close. Before I kind of wrap up what's going on in my life, let's talk about the garden. Death by heat. That is what the garden is doing. Death by heat. And I can't do anything about it until I get back from this long event experience in San Antonio, which will be Sunday of this week. Lots of driving at night again. We're leaving out tonight, probably around 8 to drive down there, get some rest, be at this hotel, I think by 9, and get us started to load in. And then we're kind of twiddling our thumbs until Friday afternoon when we come back in to load some more stuff in. And then we got to stay around the downtown area, which is fine. Although I don't know where my truck and trailer is going to hang out. Hopefully they don't have any deliveries that are coming in on that day. And so it can stay in the dock area of this hotel, because we have to move some furniture again before we can go back to our Airbnb. And then Saturday, we got to get back over there and just hang out. It's going to be a long day, actually. I think we have to be out of our Airbnb by 10 or 11. And then we're just twiddling thumbs, which I actually just now realized I didn't plan for. And we have to load out at 10 p.m. that night. And then we're driving back in the nighttime because, again, heat. We've got just crazy, relentless, stupid high heat happening right now. And it's not good for trailers. It's not good for trailers. So we're going to drive back in the middle of the night so that we're not in the heat, and then sleep on Sunday, I guess. I guess that's when we're going to sleep, or we're going to bank it on Thursday. I don't know. So death from heat, The Garden completely for the most part. Books, I didn't really finish anything this past week. I'm still working through things, and I just told you about the house. I do need my cabinets to come in. The rest of them need to hurry up and bring them in and get them set because it's kind of slowing us down in some areas. And then the reason I didn't really get any books done or read last week is I was workhorsing getting my tool or my new offering ready to get into beta mode. And I worked so much on this last week, and I knocked a lot of the stuff that I was working through out. I have this big master document that basically tells Claude, this is next. And then it gets updated. So then it tells Claude, this is next. And that is really a smart thing to do when you're running a project of any size with an AI tool, is to give it instructions, but also give it a master document. So it never forgets what it's supposed to be doing, what it's for, what the voice is, what's the purpose. So it's always referencing that. So I knocked out so many things last week regarding that. I have no idea how many sessions I actually have left to get this to a point for beta testers, but I'm a lot closer than I was when I sat down finally and just started knocking stuff out. So that's good. Okay, one final thing for Sugar Creek Farm. I'm loving Substack. I love the fact that I can write a quick note and go about my day. And you can do that on mobile, and it's so nice. And so that portion of Substack is kind of the free part of my actual Substack. And then when I write longer form content, that is where the paid subscription pops in. And then also I'm really looking forward to the chat element of Substack, which I believe is actually, you know what? The chat part is also free. So the chat and the notes section I am loving, and that's the free part of my Substack. And then again, the long form content is behind the paywall. So really loving just the opportunity of what Substack can be for my community as I continue to build it. Okay, let's dive into the first segment of the show. Unhinged comments from people on the internet. So thankfully I didn't upset too many people on the internet this past week, but I did have 3 humans, Travis, David, and Jeannie. Now, technically, David and Jeannie weren't really unhinged, but I get these comments a lot. And actually, I've never received a comment like this from a human, but we're gonna hear them. So Jeannie said, is there some reason you aren't responding to questions? So yesterday's reel was about onions and just kind of what I'm doing differently, or maybe that was 2 days ago reel. Anyways, I did one recently about how I decided to go about growing onions differently. And over on Facebook, so I create the content for Instagram, it auto-publishes to Facebook. I'm literally growing a Facebook without much effort, which is wild to me. And in just a side note, in the course sales of the product I have right now, I have 45% sales from Facebook, 45% sales from Instagram, 5% from Pinterest. Okay. So I don't really have this is the one platform that's really doing it. All that to say, I am growing Facebook without much effort. And anyways, 2 days ago, I had this message from Jeannie, or actually she said it yesterday. Is there a reason you're not responding to questions? Well, I was traveling and I was kind of sleeping part of that traveling, and I was exhausted and I had a lot of anxiety and I was not checking social media. But like, shame on you for calling me out on a reel that was maybe 24 hours old. But ma'am, there's one of me. And I'm doing the best I can. And I wrote her back and I was like, I've been traveling back from Colorado with limited signal. And she was kind. She wrote me back. But I was like, who? The audacity. The audacity. Okay, and then I had David just frustrated with the app itself and blaming me. Can you please put the information in a comment so we can actually read it and screenshot it? Scrolling a tiny box that you can barely read is awful. I know, David, it's really awful, but literally the content's coming from Instagram. I know you don't know that. And you're stuck in the Reels loop, which I know you don't know that as well. But like, it's not us. It's not the creators, David. It is literally Facebook's very poor ability to provide visibility with the content we work so hard to create for you for free, David. This content is for free for you to consume. So thank you for that. And then a truly vile one from Travis. And I did respond to him. Usually I just block these, but I was like, this one's really bad. F this, but used the word AI, bad word, post. Like, I was like, Travis, that was incredibly rude. There's nothing AI about any of this. Thank you, sir. And that wraps up Unhinged comments. All right, moving into search bar confessions. So I didn't do a lot of Googling because I was like, I have to get work done on this new product. But I did ask Google again how long to boil an egg until it's a hard boiled egg, because I never remember that. And then Carson Ghost Town, we did a jeeping day and drove up to Lake City and was looking for a barbecue place, but they chose not to have their kitchen open in this particular summer season, which was actually really sad because the barbecue is really good. So we went and found another really good restaurant in Lake City, and fellow Texans, actually a fellow Tarleton alumni, and that's the college my husband graduated from. So that was fun, good food. And then we went on part of the Alpine Loop and then cut off the Alpine Loop in hunt of this ghost town called Carson Ghost Town. And it was a wild Jeep adventure. My husband was like, I wonder if I can do this particular trail in just 2x4. And literally 98% of it we managed in 2x4. But there was one, we drove down into this creek, and then the crawl out of the creek was not like he tried. But the incline was, it felt like it was straight up and down, and it was like a solid boulder that you had to climb up. And so no, we definitely had to be in 4x low in order to get out of that creek. And all I could think of is, please don't tip over. Please don't tip over. But a beautiful trail. We were the only ones on it once we turned past the ghost town, which, by the way, is now privately owned, like the land that this ghost town sits on, privately owned. And at some point, and I would say within the last 10 to 15 years, they have re-roofed and put metal roofs on these old log buildings. And the buildings themselves they're not new, but I can't imagine that they are the original. I feel like somebody had to have rebuilt some of them just because of how well they have weathered Colorado. And that's saying a lot. So I don't know who was responsible for that, but definitely they didn't have the sheet metal that is on the roofs right now. Back in 1881, when this ghost town became an actual town, you could see all of the mining trails, which was so cool to see. There was probably 7 mines that you could actually pick out, and just a snapshot of time, and then your mind just like wanders, right? So Carson Ghost Town, I wanted to know more about it. And then bacon wrapped jalapeno poppers. I needed to know how to make them that actually had flavor to them. And these were really delightful. So that wraps up this week's Search Bar Confessions. Okay, so for this week's business nugget, we are still in the series about what do I do next in my business. This happens to be step 5. It's technically week 5 of this series, and we are talking about using AI behind the business or behind your business, not instead of yourself, not allowing AI to replace yourself. So I know that AI has made it easier to produce more. And I'm going to quickly nod back to Ask H AI. That's one of the AI tools. I use Claude, I use ChatGPT, and I'm now using Ask H AI. And this particular AI, I'm going to tell you, first of all, it's built on Priestess numerology. If you are into that kind of learning and exploration of you yourself as a human being, I highly recommend getting your numbers read. But on a whole nother level, this AI tool allows you to have reflections back. Like, I'm so blown away by the creator, Harriet, of this tool because she continues to add way more value into the tool and, humanizing it almost. So I'm not sure that there are any other AI tools that exist. I know Claude for sure and ChatGPT for sure, but this one is literally like your own personal cheerleader because she knows who you are. And she is now able to give you a weekly mirror back to you on what you accomplished by working with her from Sunday to Saturday or Monday to Sunday. She's literally reflecting back the work you did and being your freaking cheerleader. It is amazing. If you want to experience this, $44 a month is literally a drop in the bucket to use an AI tool that has this many gifts built within it. Go to bossgirlcreative.com/ask-HAI. So it's ASK, the letter H like Harriet, AI. So bossgirlcreative.com/ask-HAI and check out this tool. Like, it's a brilliant tool. I have the base and I have Penelope, and Penelope is the copywriter of the tool, and it's brilliant. It's absolutely brilliant. And this is me telling you how I am using AI in my business, not replacing me in my business. So obviously, AI has completely changed how quickly we can create things, right? We can write faster, research faster, brainstorm faster, repurpose faster. We can analyze information faster, create systems faster, and generate endless ideas. That is truly the power of actual artificial intelligence, robots helping us in our businesses. And that's incredibly useful. But here's my first question of the business nugget. Just because we can make more content or more emails or more offers or more ideas and just in general, more stuff faster, should we? So we already have a problem with businesses thinking the answer is more, just do more, which turns out to be busy work. But we are constantly thinking about more content, more platforms, more offers, more emails, more funnels. And now AI can make the more part of all of that incredibly easy. So if you don't know what your business actually needs, AI can help you become more efficient at doing the wrong things. AI can speed up your business for sure, hands down, but speed is only useful when you are actually heading in the right direction. So I want you to think about AI as a tool for your business, not a strategy for your business, because this is an important distinction. A lot of people are treating, quote unquote, using AI as if it is an actual business strategy, and it isn't. AI can support your strategy, but it cannot decide who your customer should be. It can't decide what you actually believe. It cannot decide what kind of business you want. It cannot decide what you should prioritize or what trade-offs you're willing to make or what your customers genuinely need. And it cannot decide what your unique perspective actually is. It can help you think through these things, absolutely, but these particular decisions still need judgment. And that is where AI needs to stop. That is where you need to draw the line in the sand and not use AI for decision making. So if you don't have clarity in your business, in your life, AI gives you way more options. And sometimes more options are exactly the problem. You can ask AI for, hey, I want 50 new offers I could create. These are like prompts that I see all over Instagram. Here, this is what you should ask ChatGPT. And it will honestly give you readily 50 offers you could create. But maybe the answer, which we kind of talked about a couple of weeks ago, is stop creating offers and sell the one you've already made. We talked about that. AI will help you generate possibilities all day long, hands down, all day long. Your job is still deciding which possibilities deserve your attention. So, where AI is exceptionally useful in your business is operational leverage. AI can help you summarize information. It can compare ideas. It can organize your research. It can identify themes. It can turn messy information into something usable. It can help you figure out what questions you still need answered. You can use it to get super organized in your business, turn your voice notes into outlines, organize your brainstorming sessions, categorize your ideas, build processes, document your workflows, create checklists and to-do lists, structure your projects. AI can be an analyst for you. It can help you analyze your customer questions, reviews, comments, survey answers, sales information, content performance. And you can say, hey, what patterns am I missing out of all of this? Not make the decision for me, but help me see the information more clearly. What does it all mean? So repurposing is another way that you can utilize AI. This is another place where AI can save a huge amount of time. One original idea can become talking points in a blog post, newsletter angles, FAQs, short form content ideas. But I want to make this clear. The original thinking still comes from you. AI can also help you with admin tasks, first drafts, SOPs, summaries, meeting notes, documentation, internal communications, repetitive formatting. Some of the best uses of AI are the ones your customer never even sees. That's where AI can give you leverage without changing the personality of your business. This is the danger part of AI, outsourcing the actual thinking. That's the danger of AI. There is a big difference between using AI to help you express an idea and using AI to tell you what your idea should actually be. Imagine you sit down to create a piece of content, and instead of starting with, what do I think about this? You start with, give me 20 posts about this topic. Now AI has effectively chosen the angles, the arguments, the language, the examples, and the conclusions. And you just became the editor of someone else's output instead of the originator of the idea. And what happens when everybody starts doing this? Everything starts sounding the same, and now literally every email I get or social media post that I look at, I know when it's been written by AI, and it makes me cringe. And then I start second guessing the person who just sent me the email, because I can see that AI thought for them and these were not their thoughts. They may have said, hey, this is the direction I want to go, but when it still sounds like a robot, that is a problem. So here are the signs in case you aren't familiar with what to be looking for or how this might be already affecting you with your own use of AI. Your content is technically good but doesn't sound like you. You're publishing things you wouldn't actually say. You don't remember what you posted because you didn't actually create it. Your opinions become softer and more generic. Everything has the same rhythm and structure. Your content could belong to almost any business in your category. If AI is actually doing all of the thinking for you, eventually your audience stops getting a reason to choose you because your perspective is part of the value you bring to the table. Remember, I harp on this all the time. You cannot be replicated, and that is you as the human being behind the business. So think about this. Your original material should always come first. Start with something that belongs to you. And that could be a voice memo, a podcast recording, a series of notes that you took, a customer conversation you had, a story, an opinion, an experience you had, a lesson you learned, or a framework you have developed. And then use AI to help you work with that original idea. So instead of asking AI, write me a post about business growth, you start with, here is what I've been noticing about business growth. Help me organize this. And that changes the relationship to your body of work completely. You want AI working downstream of your thinking, not replacing the thinking at the source, which is you. So you give it your raw material, and then you ask AI to help you organize, refine, expand, or repurpose. So give it all of your ingredients. Don't ask it to decide what you're actually cooking. Here's another thought to all of this. AI should be making you more yourself, not less. If AI is going to save you time, what are you doing with that saved time? That's actually the bigger question. Ideally, AI removes some of the mechanical work so you can spend more time on things only you can do. And the things only you can do need to be having the actual experience, forming an opinion, building relationships, making judgment calls for your business, getting the actual leads, telling your story, observing how your customers are interacting with you, what kind of results are they getting, testimonials. You are the one developing your own tastes. You are the one choosing what matters, and you are deciding what to do and what not to do. If AI saves you 3 hours and you use those 3 hours to create 5 times more generic content, what did you actually gain? But if AI saves you 3 hours and you use those hours to talk to your actual customers, improve your offers, think strategically, record something meaningful, work on the actual business, then AI has gifted you leverage. The goal shouldn't be using AI to produce more of you. It should be using AI to free up more of you. So when I personally use AI, and I use it almost daily at this point, I need so much help organizing, restructuring, etc., etc., etc. So I use this. Would I actually say this? So before publishing anything AI has touched something, would I actually say this out loud? And then, do I agree with it? Is this how I would actually explain it? Is there anything here I haven't actually experienced? Is there a stronger opinion I removed because AI made it more neutral? Could any competitor publish this exact thing? What example could only come from me? And what do I know about this because I've actually done it? So recently I was like, here is my content. I created this 10 weeks ago, and this is what I wrote. But there's one sentence that I want to tweak because for whatever reason, now we're in fall and we need to be doing this thing again. And these are the things that we need to be thinking about because we are in fall. And this sentence doesn't go with that. So help me reframe it based on this piece of content I posted 10 weeks ago. And so these are the questions once I had that sentence rewritten that I was asking myself. Do I agree with it? Does it sound like me? Is this how I would explain it? Is there anything here I haven't actually experienced? You want the rewrite to still sound like you. And then I was like, it still doesn't sound like me. Like literally, I just gave it the content that I already wrote myself. I need it to lean back this way. So here's what I'm going to do. Here is how I would actually talk it out loud. And sometimes me talking it out loud is not like polished enough. And I say that not saying I'm trying to be super polished because I'm not trying to extricate myself from my own content, but sometimes I get way too wordy and I need it to be like zhuzhed down. I need it to be way more refined, but still sound like me. And so I said, here's how I would say it if I was standing in front of you, speaking to you, and I, word vomited what it would be with my fingers. And then we got to where it was a more short and sweet version of that word vomit. And that's important. AI generated content often becomes way more useful when you add specificity. And the specificity part is you word vomiting to it. How would you say this to your best friend? If your best friend was standing in front of you, regardless of whether or not they know what you do and understand what you do, how would you describe it to them? Specificity actually gives your content life. Instead of consistency is important in business, tell the story of the thing you repeated for 6 months before it finally worked. Instead of listen to your customers, talk about the question that customers keep coming back and asking you that ultimately changed your offer. Specificity is one of the easiest ways to put the human back into AI assisted work. And I feel like that's what I see so much lack. That's where the lack is coming from, because you can see the pattern. And I don't know where AI went and learned these specific patterns, but there is a pattern to AI. And there's phrases that AI is using that makes you know that it's AI. It's wild to see that kind of content. And to see the person that chose to hit the publish button didn't go back and give that specificity that it actually needs to make it sound like you again. Here's one more thing that I'm also seeing is that AI is allowing people to jump to the beginning of the line or the start of the line. AI can help us do things we haven't fully learned yet, obviously. You can go ask it to help you learn a new language. And that can be useful. But if there's a danger in becoming dependent on the actual output, you can't evaluate. For example, if AI is writing your copy or writing a strategy for you or writing code or contracts or research, you still need enough understanding to know whether it's good. Like, what if it's not good and you don't have the understanding that it's not good? Like, I'm towing that line right now with Claude and the Ask H AI, not specifically Ask HI. It's very much specifically Claude, because I am having Claude. I'm working in a project in Claude and I'm having it code, and I don't understand coding. And so I'm also using Ask H AI to dumb it down for me and to make sure I understand the blurbs that are coming out of Claude. And for the most part, now that I've been doing this long enough, I am understanding what Claude is doing. But I still had to have some kind of knowledge base. And I'm so grateful I started blogging when I did. And I taught myself CSS and I understand HTML and all of that. If I didn't have that knowledge, I'd be up a creek. And I can remember back to me building Ivory and Ink, which is now Iology, and I don't know if I'll ever do anything with that. But anyways, that was a business I worked on for 2.5 years, and we hired a product manager and a coder to create this online atmosphere for us. And now I understand what both of those humans were actually doing, specifically because I have this Claude project that I'm working on with building this tool. So there is a difference. AI helping me perform a skill faster and AI producing something I have no ability to judge. There is a very, very fine line in that. And if you can't tell whether the output is correct, effective, ethical, or even appropriate, that can be a big old problem. AI can reduce the amount of work required to execute the skills, but it doesn't actually eliminate the need for judgment. Again, specificity, judgment, your whole personality, like these things cannot be removed out of things that you create. And judgment is coming from your world experience, your own learning, your own testing and tuning and experiments, and paying attention. And then one final thought before we tie this all up in a bow. We don't want to let AI create work you don't need. AI is absolutely making creation so incredibly cheap that it's easy to constantly add more things. I mean, literally, it's infinite. You can create new lead magnets or another course or a new email newsletter series, a giant content count. Like the amount of things you can actually create is really quite infinite, which is kind of scary. But every one of these things that you can now create infinitely is going to create more work. So just because AI can make something easy to actually create, who's going to maintain it? Who's going to sell it or update it or support it or measure whether or not it's working? AI has made creation cheaper for us all. It has not made complexity free, though. So here's your homework. Tasks that are repetitive, administrative, organizational, time-consuming, require super low judgment for you, and are easy to review. You ask yourself, what am I still doing manually that does not actually require me? And then these are the category of things that AI should be helping you with. Things that require your thinking but could benefit from additional support, like brainstorming, research, analysis, outlining something, repurposing your content, helping you edit, and also helping you identify problems that you really can't pinpoint yourself. So where could AI help you think more clearly without making decisions for you? And then final category, AI should not replace you at all in any of these things. Your opinions, your leadership, your stories, your customer conversations, anything that has you networking or relationship building, anything that's like creatively focused and driven, strategic decisions you're making in your own business, and then also your teaching from your own experience. So where would outsourcing yourself actually make your business weaker? Because that's an important part of all of this. And then lastly, what are you doing with the time AI is actually saving you? And is the saving of this time useful? If AI is actually helping you save 5 hours in your week, decide what those 5 hours are going to be for. Are you going to do more selling? Are you going to serve your customers better? Are you going to work on relationship building? Are you going to do some strategy sessions, brainstorming? Are you going to actually rest because now you have 5 hours you didn't have? Are you going to create higher quality work? Or are you going to spend those extra 5 hours doing tasks that bring in more money? Efficiency isn't the goal when it comes to using AI like you think it might be. Capacity is the actual goal, and you still have to decide what the capacity is actually for. So this entire series that I'm working through, and we're at technically week 5 or step 5 in what should I be doing next in my business? This entire series has been about resisting the urge to continually add things and instead building a stronger business with what you already have. And AI can either help you with that or make your problems dramatically worse. So it can help you analyze what's working. It can help improve your customer path. It can help market your existing offers. It can help communicate with your audience. It can help run your business more efficiently, or it can help you generate 75 new ideas you'll never properly know what to do with. So I want you to identify one thing AI should take off your plate and one thing you've been allowing AI to do that you need to put yourself back into. The smartest way to use AI isn't figuring out how much of your business it can do. It's figuring out where your business still needs you the most. Using AI to remove the busy work, not the actual fingerprints of your business, which is where you are injecting your specificity. Your business should become more efficient without becoming less recognizable as it being yours and belonging to you. And there you have it. Thank you so much for listening to this week's episode. Next week, we're diving into step number 6. You don't want to miss it. Until then, I hope you have a great rest of your week. And like my 3-year-old self said, that is all for this week. Friendly reminder to rate and review my show wherever you are listening. And last but not least, I'd love to hear from you. Leave me an audio message at bossgirlcreative.com/speak. I would love to hear your takeaways, ideas for upcoming episode topics, and your feedback. Thank you again for listening to this week's episode. And until next time, I hope you have a great rest of this one.